What's going on, guys? So today I'm just making this quick video to help you guys get your driver's license in Florida. I recently got my license and I really hope that this video helps you out. So I'm just going to outline the key points that you guys need to remember, and if you just practice these things, you basically pass the test, and everything else is just gonna fall into place. And it's kind of common sense. If you have been practicing for a while with your permit, this test is gonna be very easy for you. But there are some very important things that you do have to remember, that they do dock a lot of points for if you just do them wrong, because these are the ones that actually makes up the bulk of the test. So firstly, I'm going to talk about lane changes. If you've been practicing on the road for a while, lane changes can be very daunting at first. However, it's actually very simple. So let's say you have to make a lane change to the right side. All you have to do is just signal to the right side and wait 5 seconds, or for the beep to at least beep for 3. That way you kind of know that it's been a good 5 seconds. And then as you're making the lane change, the whole time you should be looking at your the mirror on the side that you're making the lane change on. So in this example, the right side. So if the car on the right, the other lane, the lane you want to get into, if it's very small or the entire car fits in the mirror, basically that means it's far enough away. However, sometimes you might not see an entire car because it might be in your blind spot. So if you're making a lane change to the right, do a quick glance to to the right side and look through the passenger window if you're in a sedan. And if you see a car there, do not make that lane change. Wait as long as possible, and when these two things are clear, the car is far enough away in the mirror, but you don't see anything in the passenger window, like in the back side on the right side, that means it's safe to make the lane change, and you can safely, as you're signaling, move over to the right side. But at the same time, keep your eye on the road in front of you, because that's the main part. Lane change is not the most important part of the driving. The most important part is keeping your eyes on the road. That way you can stay focused and not cause anything bad to happen. Same thing goes for the left side. Next thing I want to talk about is following distance. You want to maintain a safe following distance from the car in front of you. One trick I have found is that all you have to do is just stay one street light away from the car in front of you. What that means is, as you're driving on the street, you'll see street lights, and those street lights are pretty far apart. And as long as it takes one street light distance for you to catch up to the next car, that means you're far enough away, and that's a safe distance. A lot of sources would say 4 to 5 seconds, or sometimes 3 seconds, but it can be very hard to time that. So I just go by the street lights, because it really helped me out. And majority of the places have street lights, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, when you're actually on the testing ground, they will test how to basically get up to speed and basically bring the car to a complete stop. This can be a little bit daunting, because they'll test you in a pretty small space, and for me it was a very small space, and there were fences all around, so I didn't really want to crash the car. But it's really easy. All you have to do is just, when they say get up to speed, don't slam on the gas brake, don't floor it. Basically gradually press the gas button with good amount of force, so it quickly gets up 20 miles an hour. And then they want you to stop the car very quickly, but don't kick the brake pedal. You want to slowly bring the car to a stop, but at the same time it has to be quick and sudden. Gradually press the brake, but at the same time with a decent amount of pressure, so the car quickly comes to a stop. Another thing they will test you on is 3-point turn. It's going to be very easy if you know what you're doing. So I say you go to an empty parking lot and practice on your own for a while, or just on your street, on your neighborhood street, because 3-point turn can be a little bit challenging, because you don't really know the boundaries of the car, how forward the car is, the entire dimension of the car. It can be very difficult, especially if you're using a bigger vehicle. All you have to do is be on the right side of the road all the way, as far as you can go. because 3-point turns always start with a left turn, because if you do it any other way, you're gonna fail. I've seen people fail, and I've had relatives who failed 3-point turns before, and because they didn't really understand the turning. So all you have to do, be on the right side of the road all the way, signal, and look around, and if there's any car, do not pretend like there's some cars there, and even though there isn't, just pretend like there is, because they also test you on that. You have to look out for cars because you don't know who's coming. So anyway, signal, turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, make sure you're in drive, and then go all the way left to the left curb of that parking lot, or on that lane, whatever. And then as you're all the way left, put it in reverse, signal right, because your tail is going to swing right, turn all the way right, steering wheel all the way to the right, and start backing up. And that way your your tail goes all the way to the right curb and back out all the way to the right curb. And then you're going to put it in drive, signal left, and turn all the way to the left steering wheel, and go forward and straighten out the car. This is going to be pretty easy if you know what you're doing, so I really highly recommend that you practice for a while and then you attempt this. Next is reversing. It's going to be pretty straightforward. They're just going to ask you to lift your foot off the brake, and as your car goes backwards, you basically have to keep the car inside the lane markings. So I say you practice in a small street, like with some parking areas, like in a small parking lot where you can see boundaries of the parking lot, and that way you can start reversing and basically try to keep the car as straight as possible, because that's going to really help you out, and they're not going to dock any points. You can go a little bit off to the side, but as long as you're in the middle, as long as you're inside within the boundaries of the line, you're good enough. Next up is parking. Parking is pretty straightforward, but it can be very, very challenging because they put the cones literally on the line. In real life, the car next to you, they're not going to be literally on the line. There's still going to be a little bit of gap as you're parking, but during the testing process, they actually put the cones right on the line you're parking in. So for left side parking, all you have to do is just be on the right side of the road, all the way as far as you can go. Start inching forward, and as soon as there are two lines of the parking, the parking spot, as soon as the first line of the parking spot is aligned with your left shoulder, and the left mirror of your car is aligned with the other line, that means you're far enough in. Now you're gonna signal left and turn the steering wheel all the way to the left, and basically start turning the car. And as soon as the car is inside the cones, start straightening out the steering wheel, and see as the car goes forward, and straighten out as much as needed. And the moment the car is completely straight, keep inching forward. And whenever for my car personally, I don't know about other cars, but for me, when the curb, you can see the curb right under the mirror, right under the left mirror of the car, that means you're far enough inside so that your tail is not hanging out, so any cars driving by can possibly hit it. So it's not that way. As long as you can see the curb right below your left mirror, that means you're far enough inside so that it doesn't pose a risk. So yeah, I think that's about it. Other than that, everything else kind of is self-explanatory. Stop sign means stop. Always be on the lookout for cars, even though there aren't any cars. For me, it was a small, tight, closed off area, so there weren't any cars. But you're supposed to pretend like there were cars, and basically, show them that you know how to look out for them. And then there are uphill and downhill park. For me, they didn't really actually, test me on that, but if you live in a hilly area, they might test you. So I suggest you just basically go over how to uphill or downhill park. For me, they just said go through the motions and not actually do it. Just tell them what to do, and after you basically tell them, they say you passed or not. But Other than that, just always be on the lookout. Look left or right when turning. Stop signs, signal. um, Green light means go. Yellow means you probably don't have enough time if you're far enough away. Red means you absolutely cannot go. School zone, slow down. Construction zone, slow down. Always stay under under or at the speed limit. But other than that, they're not going to test you on anything else. Those are the main points. Everything else you kind of have to figure out yourself, and it's not that hard. I wish you the best of luck, and I really hope you get your driver's license because it really is a lot of fun. But if you live in Florida, these tips might help you out. So I say study hard, and don't spend a lot of time studying books. Actually do that, actually practice on the road or in an empty parking lot, because handheld, in practical, because practical skills are a lot more important than knowing knowledge off of the book. So I say practice a lot and be confident, and it's fine if you get a bit nervous. I know I was, but it's really not that big of a deal. The instructor knows that you're pretty nervous, you're a new driver, so they'll work with you about that. So yeah, good luck and happy driving.